Okay, so we're gonna do the back of the tangent notes from yesterday. So we're gonna do tangent of addition practice, but we're gonna start with number 6. Now, this problem's asking us to find tangent alpha plus beta, and it gives us information about alpha and beta right here. So let's draw alpha and beta. Please be very careful about your signs, because if you misdraw the triangles, you're gonna miss the problem. So here's alpha. And it tells us it's between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. And those of you that maybe have been absent, remember, here's your unit circle. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. So if I'm saying that alpha is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, I'm talking about right here in quadrant 4. So to draw quadrant 4, you go down, and then you connect back to the x-axis. So there's your triangle. Here's your origin, or your angle that you're going to measure from. Remember, it's always at the origin. Okay, now then that's alpha. Let's draw beta. Beta is in quadrant 1, so you're going to go out, back down to the x-axis, and there's your reference angle. Now be careful with alpha. Because guys, I'm trying to get to this point right here, which means I need to go to the right and down, which means this measurement here is negative. Along this triangle here, I'm trying to get to this point, which is to the right and up, so everything here is positive. Guys, the hypotenuse is just a distance. It's just the measure from the origin to a point. So the hypotenuse is always positive. And also, if you're getting decimals, you're doing something wrong as well, remember? So let's use this information. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse on alpha. So adjacent's always the x value. So there's your 7. And your hypotenuse is 25. You can use Pythagorean theorem to find the missing leg. You've got a hypotenuse and a leg. So we want to do 25 squared minus 7 squared. Okay, and then you take the square root of your answer. So 25 squared, what is 25 squared minus 7 squared, guys?
24.
And yeah, and you take the square root, so 576, and you take the square root and you get 24. It is a negative 24. If you forgot your negative, you're gonna miss the problem. Now let's go to beta. Beta is opposite over hypotenuse, that's sine. So I'm talking about opposite of this angle here. So 5, 13. Same, I'm going to take 13 squared minus 5 squared. You end up with 144. So the leg is 12. Now it asks us for tangent alpha plus beta. So if we write it out, tangent of alpha plus tangent of beta over 1 minus tangent alpha times tangent beta. You do not have to write out that formula to get credit. Okay, that's not required. But this next line is required for credit. Okay, you have to find each one. So what is tangent of alpha? So we're going to look for this one. Tangent of alpha would be what? Right, opposite over adjacent, so negative 24 over 7. Now then I want tangent of beta, opposite over adjacent would be 5/12. This is the line that's required. Over, and then I had a plus here, so I move it to minus. 1 minus, and then remember I just multiply these two values. Tangent alpha times tangent beta. So negative 24 over 7 times 5/12. Okay, in your calculator, you are going to have to find the answer to the top and the answer to the bottom, and then divide them. So in your calculator, find this value right here first. So do negative 24 over 7 plus 5/12. Be sure to open and close your parentheses. What'd y'all get for the numerator? negative 253 over 84. And then in the denominator, remember, hit math, enter, enter. So you can type this in and hit math, enter, enter, and that will give you your fraction back. Don't try to write that decimal and round. You'll get the wrong answer. So you type this in your calculator, you hit math, enter, enter. Okay, if you don't, then you're gonna get the wrong answer. Then all you have to do is take both of these and type them in. Take the top fraction and divide by the bottom fraction. I got negative 253 over 204. You guys, you're gonna have to actually try it, because you're gonna end up trying it on your homework and not using your calculator skills correctly. You have to get both of these answers, then divide them. Math, enter, enter. Don't try to substitute. Okay, let's go to the next one. 294. 253 over 294. Okay, number 7. Let's set up the two triangles again. Here's alpha and beta. Alpha's in quadrant 1. So you're gonna go out and back down. Label it as alpha. Beta's in quadrant 4 this time. Okay, beta's in quadrant 4. So you're gonna go down and back up to the x-axis, remember? And here's your reference angle. Now, before I move on, I'm gonna check for negatives. If I'm in quadrant 1, everything's positive, I'm good. But over here in quadrant 4, I'm gonna go to the right, that's positive, because I'm trying to get to this point. So to the right's positive and down is negative. So that's the only thing that's negative in both the triangles. Now let's fill in the data. About alpha, cosine's adjacent over hypotenuse, so we're gonna look at alpha. Adjacent's always the x-axis, and there's the hypotenuse. So you're gonna use 3, what's the other one? 4, it's just 3, 4, 5 triangle. You don't even have to solve for that one. Now let's go to beta. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent's always x, so 5 over 13. If you don't know it, then you need to subtract. 13 squared minus 5 squared is 144, so this is negative 12. Now you have all the data you need for alpha and beta. Okay, number 7, let's write it out. This time I'm asking for tangent alpha minus tangent beta, right? You gotta look, it's different every time. So you want tangent alpha minus tangent beta over 1 plus tangent alpha times tangent beta. You do not have to write out that formula. Let's find each value. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so it's 4 over 3. Now we're going to go to beta and find tangent. Opposite over adjacent is negative 12 over 5. Divided by, you're going to do 1 plus both of these values. You multiply them together. Now, if you didn't use your calculator last time, you need to take your calculator out and find the top answer and find the bottom answer. Because if you can't, you're not going to be able to do your homework either. So type this in and check it. You should get 56 over 15. Type the bottom answer in. You type it in and you do math, enter, enter. You should get negative 11 over 5. Type in the fractions and do math, enter, enter. Okay. What did you get for your final answer? Negative 56 over 33. Right, the last two. Now, guys, here's tangent. The difference about finding these problems, remember these problems are in condensed form. They're shrunk down. When they're shrunk, your job is to write them in expanded form, right? If they're expanded, you're going to shrink it. So this is in condensed form. So to help you remember it, that means we need to expand it out. So we're going to find two numbers that add or subtract together to give me negative 75. Now remember, when you're using tangent, it's different than using sine and cosine. You want to try to stay away from certain ones, right? We want to try to stay away from the tangents that have a fraction. We want to try to stay away from 30 and from 150, anything that's got root 3 over 3. Okay, so what numbers can we find that are going to give us negative 75? And remember, if you use something different than I use, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's use 45 minus 120. So 45 minus 120. It's written down in condensed form, so we're going to expand it. So tangent of 45 minus tangent of 120 over 1 plus tangent 45 times tangent 120. Use your unit circle and find each value. So tangent at 45 is 1. So you're going to write 1. What's tangent at 120? Watch your signs. Negative root 3. And guys, if you use something different here, it doesn't matter. Okay? You'll still get the final answer in the end. And then you're going to do here 1 plus. Now be careful. I want to multiply these two together. One of them was a negative. So I want 1 times negative root 3. Watch your signs there for me, okay? So what that means is that on the top, these two negatives, right, they're going to make positive. So I have 1 plus root 3. And in the denominator, when I multiply these two together, I'm going to get negative, because you always multiply first. So when I multiply them together, I'm going to get 1 minus root 3. Now, if you use different numbers, for example, let's say you got root 3 plus 1 over negative root 3 plus 1, that's the same thing. As long as the signs are the same, you're okay. Root 3 has to be positive and 1 has to be positive on top. And root 3 has to be negative on the bottom and 1 has to be positive on the bottom. Okay, last one, number 9. Now, by now, on your unit circle, I'm hoping that you've converted your radians to 12ths. So look through your radians and let's find some radians that actually are going to give me negative pi over 12. Look through your radians and find some that are going to give you negative pi over 12. You have to convert your radians to 12ths. And remember, try to stay away from the ones that use root 3 over 3. What's going to work?
3 over 12 minus 12.
Good job. 3 pi over 12 minus 4 pi over 12. So we want tangent of 3 pi over 12 minus 4 pi over 12. And if you right now want to change those to the degree values at that location, what degree value is 3 pi over 12?
45.
It's 45, and 4 pi over 12 is 60. If you want to change it to 45 and 60, that's fine. Okay, now then, you can write it out. Okay, and then just find the value of each spot. Like I said, this part can be skipped. Okay? What is tangent at 3 pi over 12? or in other words, at 45 degrees. What's this value? 1. And then tangent at 4 pi over 12 is root 3. Over, I'm going to do 1 plus, and you multiply those together. So then your final answer would be 1 minus root 3 over, and you multiply first, so 1 plus root 3. So 1 minus root 3 over 1 plus root 3.